I was eating an egg roll this morning when the packet said made from 100% real imitation eggs, and that got me thinking how to make 1 billion units without glitches in No Man's Sky. That's right guys, in today's video I'm going to show you how to make your first billion and beyond in No Man's Sky using some very simple farming methods. So let's get into today's video. So this very first method I'm going to go ahead and show you requires us to go to one of these colored suns. So some people say it's white, I think it's more like a white, like a lightish blue. Anyway, go to one of these suns. Now, if you're looking, we're looking for a planet that has activated materials on it, so such as activated indium and so on. It's not that we're going to be farming those resources, but what the planet offers instead. It offers an extreme environment, and that's exactly what we are wanting for this first farming method. So this planet right here will have such an extreme environment that we are looking for. So what we need to do is make a beeline towards the planet and then land on its surface. And just whilst we are making a beeline towards the planet, guys, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of my recent subscribers. You can see all of their lovely names right now popping up on screen. And if you want to have your name shouted out in the next video, all you need to do is do as they have all done and hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this very video, and you will be in my next release. I mean, guys, look at all those names. Fantastic. Great to see absolutely everybody. So, as you can see though, what we're hunting for is storm crystals. Now, just for literally 2 storm crystals that we have literally just gathered within seconds of landing on the planet, because we have landed within an extreme storm, which is why this planet is so important, and we are going to be hunting for these crystals. And they only appear when an extreme storm is present. But for 2 of those crystals, we are already at near enough 500,000 units. So the first thing we need to do is pop down a base, because as you can see right now, it's a frozen world and I'm absolutely freezing my ass off. When building your outpost, make sure you want to place down some sort of exocraft. Now, the one thing you want installed in this exocraft is wherever your environment is. So for example, I'm on a frozen world, so I'm going to put myself in this megawatt heater. That should keep me nice and toasty whilst we are going through these storms and we are trying to find these storm crystals. And you can put in any upgrades that you want down the line as well. And then it's just a waiting game. So as soon as another extreme storm comes rolling in, what we need to do is make a beeline for these brand new storm crystals that will appear. Now, they won't appear without these storms, which is why we need to wait, but as soon as we do, we can go ahead and harvest these storm crystals. And there are absolutely hundreds all dotted around your vicinity, and there's millions of them all around the planet, so you shouldn't go short or without seeing them. However, if the storm gives some sort of fog, or for whatever reason you can't see a storm crystal in your nearest vicinity, you can go into your visor and they'll appear that way. However, what I like to do personally is just get a little bit more elevation if your terrain allows it, and you're able then to get a more distant view around your surrounding areas. And now it's just a case of gathering as many storm crystals as you possibly can before the extreme storm ends. You've normally got anywhere between 2 and 5 minutes per storm, and this one lasts around about the 2.5 minute mark. So it's literally all onto the races, which is also why it's really good, other than obviously the whole, you know, freezing to death thing, to why you have a exocraft as well, because it allows you to get from point A to point B as fast as possible without freezing to death, which is always very nice and pleasant. So we're just going to collect these last few storm crystals here, and then we're going to see exactly how much we have made. So once you've collected all your storm crystals, go up into space and go to your nearest space station. Then go to the back here, and you want to then go to sell and obviously find your storm crystals in your influx of all the crap no doubt you've gathered along the way. So as we go down here, you can see storm crystals. I gathered 15 for 3 million units, and this is repeatable as many times as you want, and you'll be quite easily on your way to make your first billion with this method. It's a little slower than the rest of the other methods I'm going to show you today, however it is a very viable option. So the next method I'm going to show you is absolutely bananas. So this next method requires you to go to a watery planet. It don't matter what kind the planet is. So for example, I got quite lucky with a paradise planet. However, it doesn't have to be a paradise planet. It just needs to be one with water on its surface, and it has to be reasonably deep water. Not so much that you're going to stand into it and it's a puddle, but enough to swim in. If you find a planet like that, go towards its surface, and then we need to look for some gases. So the gas you're looking for is oxygen, because we are going to get salt, oxygen, mix them together and make chlorine. Now, why chlorine, you may ask? Well, chlorine gives us a very special ability where we can pretty much quadruple the amount of chlorine that we get per cycle. It's called chlorine farming. And essentially, what will happen is you can make that much chlorine, you can make billions and billions of units within no time at all. It's a very popular farming method. It's a little bit more labor intensive than the first one. However, the results that you get out of it are also a heck of a lot more for the same rough amount of time that you put in. And it's also an AFK farm, which means you can go about your daily No Man's Sky business, come back to it, and every day you'll get millions, if not billions, depending on the size of your farm per run, which is absolutely insane. So as you can see right now, I found myself a small oxygen pocket, and we're going to put down these gas extractors. You can put as little or as many as you would like. Now, the best thing to do is try to find an A or an S class pocket, or in my case, I'm going to settle with this C class for now because it is just for demonstration purposes. However, it will affect your yield, and that's something you need to keep in mind. So once you got your gas extractors down, remember, you will need a heck of a lot of power to power them, depending on how many you put down. But you will also need these silos, as you can see right behind me, in order to collect all of the oxygen that these things will put out on what's called a cycle run. So cycles can last anywhere between 5 and 15 minutes, and every time that time passes in real life and in game, you will get a small amount of said oxygen, and it will just continue like that indefinitely. The next thing you're going to need is salt, and there are two methods to gather salt in No Man's Sky. You can either go and farm it yourself, which is, to be fair, fairly easy. You do get quite a lot of salt per run, and it's just literally going in for a small swim and basically destroying any of these crystalline structures that you see about you when you swim. And you get a heck of a lot of salt for that. Or, the next method is for you to go ahead and actually mine it and set up another mine that you've already done. However, word of caution, salt deposits on planets are a little bit on the rarer side, so you might be a small while finding one, but as you can see, they do exist, and you can just pop down a plant like you did before, but using a mining extractor rather than a gas extractor. That's basically the only difference. Okay, so you've gone ahead, you got your salt, you got your oxygen, bring it over to a medium or a large refiner, and put the salt in at the top and the oxygen in below it. The reason you do this is all about ratio. So for example, I've got these two going right now, and as you can see, I am getting a butt ton of chlorine. And you can see how much the chlorine is worth. I mean, just by literally running this for like 30 seconds, I'm able to get near enough 100,000 units, or 63,000 whatever, units within just a couple of seconds. However, what we're also going to do now is we've got the chlorine at the top, and again we're going to put oxygen in underneath it. And this is where the money making part comes in, especially more so, because just by putting in just a sliver amount of oxygen, we're able to absolutely exponentially expand profits. And again, it's all about the ratio, and it'll still make chlorine, as you can see. So we're going to make the chlorine once again, and you'll see just how much we are going to make now. Now, the oxygen in itself, so you're probably thinking, well, why am I wasting oxygen? I've already got chlorine, and if I sell the oxygen on top, wouldn't that give me more? No. So the oxygen itself isn't actually that valuable. But combining that with the chlorine to make more chlorine, which then exponentially makes more, as you can see right now, it is absolutely the most valuable tool you can do. So just from literally that, we are now doubling our profits once again, and it's literally just absolutely bananas. But here's another thing you can do with chlorine. Because we are technically doubling it with the oxygen, and then doubling it again, which is quadrupling the amount of chlorine that we originally had, we can then do something rather sneaky, and then we can turn that chlorine back into salt, but it's giving us 4 times as much salt as we put in, which then in turn, with mixed oxygen, we can then start the process again and get 4 times again on top of that for chlorine, oxygen to make more chlorine, and the cycle continues, giving you virtually infinite amounts of wealth. And if you set up a massive farm of just doing this, you will get billions per cycle, which is absolutely insane. And literally, just from a small demonstration there, I already made 386 million units, just literally showing you guys how to do it, which took 10 seconds. Which is why this method is absolutely loved by a lot of No Man's Sky players. But there is one more method that I'm going to show you that requires literally very little setup. It's a lot easier, maintenance free, and it's kind of known as the lazy rich man's method, which, to be fair, I can see why, but it's one of my favorite go-to methods if I need some quick cash, and I'm going to show you exactly how to set it up. So for everybody who knows, for everybody who doesn't know, welcome to activated indium farm mining. And basically, this is the gold standard in No Man's Sky to get rich. Literally every single day, because you just leave these things sat out in the middle of nowhere and you just leave them running for 24 hours, come back, and all of a sudden you are an instant multi-million or billionaire, depending on how much of a setup that you're willing to invest, or how much time you're willing to set up a farm you're willing to invest. So the first things first, we need to look for a mining hotspot, and we're looking for activated indium. So once you've got yourself a mining site, as you can see, it's all about the potency of the site. Mine is a C class, but again, if you get an A or an S class activated indium farm, you are absolutely coins in. But for this demonstration, a C farm will suffice. So put down your base, and then you want to go ahead and put miners down, silos, and some sort of energy supply. Personally, I like to use solar and batteries, but you can also use generators, but you will have to go back and top them up every now and then. So I've gone ahead and set up a small farm, and you can see the life cycle means that every 5 minutes, give or take, I will get a small amount of activated indium. So roughly for me, it's about 250 activated indium per 5 minutes. However, I'll just leave this running for 5 minutes and then come back to it and see how much just for literally AFK mining can give you in 5 minutes. So from this mining farm that I've got, remember it's only a very small one, I've got 250, which is worth 41,000 units. Now, like I said, this is just such a small mining farm done for video purposes today. However, these farms can get absolutely huge, and the potential profits from this is absolutely insane. But just from this small mining farm, I'm still getting 41,000 units every 5 minutes. That is bananas. So there we go, guys. How to make 1 billion units without glitches in No Man's Sky. Now, guys, did you know about any of these farms? Have you used them before? Didn't you know about them? Let me know in the comment section down below what you think, as always. And my name is Professor Cynical, and I'll catch you all again in the next one. Bye for now.